I don't think I've ever been excited for a horror movie in my life. Like, seriously. So, it is a story about seven kids who all have their own demons to face. They're about, I'd say between 10 and 14 years old. I'd probably say they're closer to 14. And these kids have got their own demons to face in life, and the main character in it, Bill, he loses his younger brother, and he loses his younger brother Georgie to a entity known simply what they refer to as It. Now, It takes the form of a clown who goes by the name of Pennywise, who is played brilliantly by Bill Skarsgård, and he likes to scare them before he likes to eat them, because I guess children taste better when they're scared, and that's why he goes for kids. Now, the premise of the film is, it's quite weird, because, you see, people need to stop comparing the film to the miniseries, because the film itself is a lot more closer to the book than what the miniseries was. Now, props to what they worked with in the 90s, because I imagine that it was tough to try and capture the essence of how the book is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it does succeed in capturing the fear and the jump scares. And Tim Curry as Pennywise was something that I think was new at the time, and I think the reason Pennywise was the way he was in that film was, I think that was at the time when, like, Bozo the Clown and Ronald McDonald were, obviously big cultural figures, and I'm assuming Ronald McDonald is still to this day. I have no idea who Bozo is. News to me. And there are some contrast differences with this new film and the miniseries. So, for instance, like the miniseries, it's a bit comical. There's some moments very light-hearted. In this new one, it can be very light-hearted, but at the same time, it reminds you of how gritty the book was and how gritty the film is. And with it being that gritty, they're not afraid to shy away from violence towards kids. Now, I mentioned about Georgie obviously dying. Spoiler. It's not really a spoiler, because that's everyone knows that's going to happen just from the trailer. And that's what kicks off the events of the film. Now, the film certainly doesn't shy away from violence. It's not overly gory and it's not overly violent, but it does have its moments where you kind of want to cringe. Like, for instance, Georgie, Pennywise, just Bill Skarsgård just contorting his body and just doing all these really freaky things with it. It's really spectacular stuff, and I think what helps with this film is they've got the magic of special effects. You can clearly see Pennywise is affected by both practical and CGI, where makeup's concerned, and the things that he can do. The editing of the film as well, like, there are a couple of scenes where it might come across as a little bit jarring, and that's just because of how they've edited it, because any scene you see Pennywise in this film, it's very psychological. Like, I was watching the film, and that scene where you see Ed outside the house, and you see Pennywise speaking to him afterwards, it's kind of like, the way the camera's focused on Pennywise is, it's like you're there, and it's really weird. It's hard to explain, but the practical effects of the film and the whole setting of the film, the whole, like, where each scene that the films are in different locations, it's bloody brilliant. And props to Andy Muschietti. I think I said his name right. Andy Muschietti? I don't know. He has probably give us a definitive Stephen King movie. It might not be the best Stephen King movie, but it is definitely the most Stephen King movie, like, most authentic. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and it does cram a lot in, but that's because this part came out last Friday, the 8th of October, and the second part will be out in 2019. So this part is when they were kids, and the second part will be when they're adults. The story is that big, they had to split it into two parts, and I think it works out better as a movie because there is a lot more you can do, and you'll have much more of a budget, and you can just feel free to do what you want. This film doesn't hold back. It will do anything and everything. There are a couple of minor tweaks from the book and the film. There are a couple of things they left out, and there's definitely one thing that I'm so happy they left out, because I can imagine that would have caused outrage more than it probably already has in the clown community. It's not a clown. You just need to deal with it. It's not affecting your business whatsoever. Clowns have been creepy to begin with. Alright, Pennywise did not make clowns creepy. Clowns were creepy anyway. Look at Bozo! One of my favourite things about the film was the losers. Now, each character in the movie, one of the losers, each actor and actress who played each loser suited every aspect of the character. The two that stood out for me were Richie and Eddie. Now, the reason these two stood out for me was because Finn Wolfhard, who plays Richie out of Stranger Things, he was just brilliant. He was funny. And that was one of the things the film touches on as well. It has its moments where it's funny. Like in the old one, it was Pennywise that was funny, and the kids had the moments. But in the other one, in this one, it's kind of like the roles are reversed. Like the kids are the funny ones, but Pennywise doesn't strike you as funny. He has his moments where he might make you giggle at something that he did, like the way he speaks or the way he's acted. But he doesn't. You can't look at him and think he's going to make me laugh. He's not that kind of clown. He's beyond inhuman. He's a freaking psycho. But as for the losers, some of them are brought in the spotlight a bit. It's like some of them are brought forward, but some of them are kind of pushed to the back a bit. Like sometimes Ben and Beverly, maybe even Stanley. Sometimes like sort of not disregarded, but they kind of just get put on the back seat a bit, and it focuses on the other three. And even Mike, he kind of had his moments where it was like, where's Mike? Where did he go? You know, he's kind of disappeared for a bit. And Henry Bowers was just an absolute psychopath. I thought he was worse in this one than he was in the old one. I mean, in the old one he had a mean streak, but Jesus Christ, in this one he was just off the chain. And do you know what? Dare I say it, he was probably better in this one than he was in the old one. A lot of them, I feel like you could relate more to the kids in the new one than you could in the old one. Because in the old one, it didn't feel boring. It was just kind of like they didn't have an emotion. They weren't conveying that emotion across. Whereas in this new one, you can relate to them because you probably know growing up, adults don't believe you. No matter what you tell them, no matter what you do, adults will always look down on you. And these kids are being terrorized by this evil, freaky ass looking clown. And they probably want to tell the parents about it, but the parents, and I'm assuming Pennywise actually has an influence on the town, the parents won't believe them. And it's hard for a kid growing up and not having their parents believe them. And I think the film gets that message across that if a number of people have a certain thing in common, so for instance, these kids have Pennywise, and they've all got their own demons to face. Beverly's got a dad. Mike's probably got different views than his granddad. Richie doesn't believe in Pennywise until he actually sees him. And Richie's the kind of guy who wants everyone to be okay, but at the same time, he's probably only just looking out for himself because Richie's just that kind of guy. He's funny. He's the funny guy. Eddie's just a hypochondriac who's dealing with an overprotective mother. And and I thought this was something that was good. In the book, they touch up on how when Eddie's with his friends, he feels like he's not ill. And then when he goes back to his mum, he feels like all that illness comes rushing back. That was a big message they put across in the film, and it's the same with Stanley. You can definitely see there are some moments in this film where Stanley is starting to shape into who he will be in the second part. I'm not spoiling anything. And it conveys that message across that everyone has someone, and if you stick together, you'll win. And that's one of the things about Pennywise. There are moments where Pennywise tries splitting them up because he knows if they all stick together, they might beat him. So in the film, you can kind of see Pennywise has doubts that he is this great, all-powerful being. But the kids, the chemistry between the kids is just great. And even with Skarsgård on camera, you can see that their reaction is genuine because they didn't see him until a month into shooting. So their general reaction that you see on the screen is real. That's not fake. And I think that the action scenes, the story, the pace, the music is phenomenal. The music kind of reminds me of Danny Elfman. It's got a very Batman stroke Wolfman vibe to it, and it puts across the terror, but at the same time the soundtrack is quite a beautiful written piece. I think I gave it a listen the day the film came out to sort of get a glimpse, because a lot of people have compared it to Danny Elfman, and I can kind of see why. And there were 2 tracks that stood out for me, or 3, sorry. There was Time to Float, Georgie's theme, and I think it was Derry. No, it wasn't Derry. It was Pennywise's Tower. That was it. And also, just as an extra one, I'm going to add the epilogue Pennywise dance. Them tracks have the different tones of the film all put in them. Like, Pennywise's theme is like a mixture of like a children's lullaby stroke Danny Elfman music. That's the best way I can put it. And there's some like hard rock in there. It's like some electric guitar and everything like that. It's quite a scary soundtrack. A lot of the tracks are just noises. Like, one track, I think it's called Shapeshifting. The last 10-15 seconds of that track is just something screaming, and I don't know what the hell it is. But the music I thought was a nice touch. I genuinely thought for a second that it was Danny Elfman, but it was Benjamin Wallfish, I think his name is. I did say the pace was phenomenal, but there were a couple of moments where it kind of thought, it feels like we've gone in a circle here, but then we immediately come out of it and it's like, oh no, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. So the film itself, the acting, Skarsgård has definitely given us a definitive Pennywise, and the fact that he's got a bog eye makes him that much freakier. I'd say the film, if you haven't seen it already, I would definitely recommend it. You know, I think it was definitely hyped up to be terrifying. It was certainly jump scares, but I think if you don't have a phobia of clowns, you're not going to be that scared. If you do have a phobia of clowns, then I'm sorry, this film isn't for you. Trust me. The girlfriend came with me, and I'm pretty sure she's not scared of clowns, but I think she nearly had a heart attack. And the music, everything, the cast, the chemistry, the direction that the film's going in, you can clearly see where it's going into the second part. It gives me high hopes for it, because it's been a while since we've had a solid Stephen King movie or anything Stephen King. I recently watched The Mist. That was solid on Netflix. That was a really good programme. But I would give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that I will bring it down on is it probably comes back to the pace. It kind of dips at one point and you can't really see a direction that it's going, but then something happens and it immediately picks back up. So I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's definitely my favourite horror movie of the year. What's your favourite horror movie? I recently went to watch Annabelle. I liked it, but it relied too much on jump scares. And it was kind of like, this is just like a starter for it. Like, it was the main course and Annabelle was just kind of like the starter. So yeah, guys, have you seen it? I hope you have. It's been out for nearly a week. What did you think about it? Let me know what you thought about it, and if you're looking forward to part 2, and if you're hoping that Skarsgård comes back for Pennywise. Also, if you have any suggestions about who you think could play the Losers Club in their adult years, do let me know below, guys. And if you enjoyed this review, do leave a like and let me know. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. I'll put a button there, or there, or there, or there. I'll put it somewhere. I could even put it there. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace! What is going on, guys? Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I love doing it. Be sure to leave a like and comment if you want to see more of this, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. So on that note, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!